YouTube! ¿Qué pasa? Welcome back to another Bleach Brave Souls video.
Okay, let's go.
Today's video is a little pro tip to, well, it's not only to beginners, it's to intermediate players and even to some, advanced players, let's just call it like that. And the thing I'm talking about is prioritization and which character to work on, to max out. Now, since the introduction of times 5 IT runs, well, inheritance trial runs, it's been a lot easier to farm the materials that are necessary to T15, T20 characters. And we've also had quite a few events where we had ×2 and ×3 drop rate increase for droplets that you also need to level up a character from T10 to T15 or T20. Now, one tip from me really, and that's a very crucial tip, is if you are going to think about maxing out different units, try always really working on one unit. Just recently I reviewed the account of one of my friends, and yeah, he just showed me like some of his characters and units, and what came across was like a lot of units are like T10, a few are T15, and I think he had only like literally 2 or 3 T20s. And he isn't, first of all, sure which ones he should be leveling up to T20 on one hand. On the other hand, he's struggling to collect all the materials for every character that's on his list anyways to T20. Now, what I always do, let me just share with you guys my approach to the things like. So I usually go over and I usually, let's sort it to link slots, right, there is. Right, I usually try to T20 almost every unit I have, literally. Like most of the units I'm getting, I literally try to T20 them, and I'm mostly T20 1 or 2 characters a day. So how do I go about? Right. Now, if I say, for example, speed, because I've been farming quite a few speed pots today and super pots. If I was to choose now a speed character, I'll check up, all right, which ones do I have T20? These are the ones. And which ones do I have T10? The T10 ones are mostly from the days where I actually just received them, or I only ever use them once and don't have any further need for them really. But nevertheless, I try and T20 every character. Now, what I do, I usually try and work on one character at a time, right? So, say for example, I'm working on Uryu. I try T20ing him and focusing my attention only to him until he's T20, and then I progress on to the next character, because there's really no pressure really to work on multiple characters trying to T20 3, 4 characters at the same time, grinding left and grinding right. Like that can cause a burnout, like you're trying to play the game and have fun, and on the other hand you're pressurizing yourself trying to farm left and right, and at the end of the day you might not even get one character to T20. You might even end up leaving them at T15, which is all right for some people, but like I'm a perfectionist, so I like to really increase them to the max level if I can. Now, that's what I basically do. And how do I focus, or basically how do I kind of divide my time? I usually try to farm mainly point event. That's like my main focus. Apart from point event, I usually only grind inheritance trials. So if I go over to co-op, for example, today it's inheritance trials technique to get speed pots, and I would literally just grind that most of the time until the event is over. So always try and be stacked up. My usual contingent of super pots or normal pots is usually around 15 to 20k per color. So that's why I try to keep it at all times. Droplets, obviously, I've got over 70, 80, 90k I think now left for each color because of the times 3 event. But yeah, I usually try and keep them pots stacked up to like I said 15, 20k. So always have enough to at least T28 character at any given time. Say for example, new mid-month or end of month banner drops and I'm fortunate enough to get the character and I do want to play with that character, I can go ahead and just T20 him because I've got the materials stacked up. And that's one advice. Work on one character at a time and try and stay always stacked up on those materials. Like obviously try and farm your usual stuff like your point event and your chronicle quest, but once you have a certain amount of characters, I mean farming point event obviously gets you BBS tickets, which then in return might get you new characters, which then in return gets you orbs. Yes, of course, good thing. But at the end of the day, if you're like me and you got over 1,400 characters on an account, like a lot of them are 5 of 5 already. Most of the times, obviously, I farm every point event till 50 million each time. So that's 20 to 50 million I go for each point event. And that's enough for me. And the rest of the tickets I usually get are spent only on epic raids to get pots and inheritance trials to get pots to save up. And then I go back to my list and check my characters and see which characters I actually want to T20 next. And that's how I usually work on my account and work on my characters. And I usually categorize which character I want to T20 next on those criteriums. The first one is if it's a pot unit, I usually tend to T20 them first. Then droplet bonus drop characters, I usually try to go for them for T20. Then after that, I try to go for T20 for every character I use in Guild Quest. So if, say for example, the next one that I was going to do is this Rose, I was going to make him T20 and then Moe because I am thinking about implementing those two in my Guild Quest teams, even though they are currently fine as they are. So, and after that, I usually go for T20 for every unit that I play with a lot. So, and once I've finished those steps, like once I've done those characters first, then I go ahead and T20 like a unit which I probably never use, but I still T20 them just for the fun of it. Like for example, I don't know, a unit which I'll probably never ever use on here is let's take him. This Tenjiro, I would probably never ever use him. I don't even like this character. I mean, he looks like Elvis, but yeah, he's like a character I never ever use, but I still T20 them. Why? Because you never know if there is a need to use a certain character on a Senkaimon stage, or maybe on an update, something on any update, and you want to use that character on maybe a new game mode or something. You never know. So I usually try T20 every character. Makes my life much more easier, especially for Senkaimon. If I want to try out different characters for different stages, just to see whoever works best. And that's how I usually go about on my account. And yeah, for everyone that doesn't know which characters to max out first and which ones to work on first, I will be doing a separate video on that with like a sort of beginner's tier list, let's call it like that, or who to work on tier list um, for all those people that are asking which character to work on and prioritize. But that is basically just the way I go about on my account. So basically try and work on one character at a time, try always stay stacked on materials, and then just analyze which characters you need the most and T20 them first, and then do it step by step. Don't try and broaden yourself over 20 characters literally, and then complain that the game is too time consuming and go getting anywhere, and you know what I mean. Basically, don't try to get yourself burned out. The game's about having fun. So if you're having fun with a certain thing, then keep doing that, and don't try to get yourself pressurized just because maybe somebody on YouTube saying, right, that unit's there and that unit's meta and you have to work on that unit and this and that. Just play the game. That's what it's about. And yeah, that's it for me. Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think on this. How do you go about this? What are your prioritizations? What characters do you work on first? What are you struggling with? Let me know. Really interests me. And as always, don't forget to smash the like button and take care of yourselves. And I'll see you guys next time.